At the end of this week's WandaVision, we're treated to the surprise return of Pietro Maximoff, Wanda's brother, aka the speedster Quicksilver. But hang on, that isn't Quicksilver. This was Quicksilver. Except, wait, it is Quicksilver. I'm confused. Are you confused? Okay, let's break this down and explain why Evan Peters' version of the character is such a big deal, because it really is. First, we need some context about Marvel and their properties. In 1996, Marvel was forced to file for bankruptcy due to the decline of the comic book industry at the time. In order to keep their head above water, Marvel auctioned off the film rights to several of their characters to various film studios. For example, Spider-Man was notoriously given to Sony, who went on to produce these.
Pizza time.
And why he was only returned to the MCU at this specific point, once an agreement had been brokered. For Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch especially, things were a little bit more complicated, due to the characters having more than one tie of allegiance. Both characters were a part of the Avengers, so Marvel could lay a claim to using them, but they were also notoriously mutants, which could put them with the X-Men under 20th Century Fox's usership. Around 2014-2015, an issue arose. Avengers Age of Ultron was under development, where Wanda and Pietro, here played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson, were both introduced into the MCU. At the same time, X-Men Days of Future Past was released, which also featured a Quicksilver, as played by Evan Peters. Suffice to say, Evan Peters' iteration of the character is genuinely more liked, and this may have had a hand in Marvel killing off Taylor-Johnson's version of the character, although it was done to avoid further studio clashing. The result was Quicksilver being dropped from the MCU, leaving the other Quicksilver to flourish in 2 further movies, but we don't tend to talk about them. So why is the other Quicksilver here now? Well, in 2019, Disney, the owners of Marvel, bought 20th Century Fox after they went under and thus regained the right to use all of the properties previously held by their rival. This includes the X-Men and thus total ownership over Quicksilver. As a result, X-Men characters are now free to appear in the MCU's further installments, and it appears WandaVision is the first case of this happening. But what does this mean for the wider MCU? Well, considering that WandaVision and supposedly the third Tom Holland Spider-Man film will tie directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it means the MCU has the means of formally bridging the gap between the various iterations of their properties via multiverse theory, and we can expect to see more elements from older films bleed into future content.